Now let's look at the next transaction. So if we look at the next transaction, as you can see here, we have got credit losses. So obviously credit losses will an account. Okay, so the credit losses is the same as bad debts. Can you see now? But we know for sure the account that we're going to identify here is going to be credit loss, or you can call it bad debts. It's up to you. But let me call what they wrote here credit loss or losses. That's the account, or you can call it bad debts. Credit losses, you can call it bad debts. So credit losses, in other words, we wrote off a debtor. Obviously, we need to write off what a debtor has been written off. Can you see now? So this will give us another account, but that account is debtors control. You see now? It gives us debtors control. So it means at the end of the day, so far we have got, can you see now, the accounts will be found on the transaction. The credit loss debtor here has been written off. But because we are a VAT vendor, it means when we write off someone, remember by the time when we sold to them, we did include VAT. So even when we are writing off, in other words, we are canceling them from our books, we must also consider the VAT. But you must ask yourself first, when you sold to them, what was the VAT that was calculated? That VAT was called output VAT because you were selling to them. But when you are writing them off, it means you must reverse that tax. That VAT will be now called what? Input VAT. So the VAT that we're going to have here is going to be what? The input VAT. So to write it nicely here, I'm going to have credit losses. By the way, the credit losses are expenses. We have got debtors, control. And what are the debtors control? They are assets. And then we've got input VAT. And input VAT, as you know, is also an asset. It will always be an asset, remember. Okay, so these are the accounts involved. So now we need to check the movement. The credit losses, meaning I've got more expenses, they will go up. Debtors, what will happen to debtors? So if you cancel a debtor, it means the amount of debtors will go down. So the debtors control will go down. And VAT, obviously, when you see VAT, it will always go up. Can you see in this case? And now we need to go and check the movement. Expenses increase on the debit side. Assets decrease on the credit side. Credit side. And assets increase on the debit side. So, like I said, these are the rules. You must just know them. Okay, you must go and learn them. And after doing that, we can decide which one is the main account. Remember, I did give you some notes before. Which one is the main account? Obviously, this is our main account. Why must we know that it's the main account? It's because the main account will always take the amount with VAT. So this is our main account. So debtors control is a main account. So we know that debtors control is going to take the whole amount that is including VAT. So how much is it? It's 1,000. So 1,000 is going to be recorded here for debtors. It's the main account. You see, it's going to be 1,000 rands. £1,000. But we need to calculate what? VAT. So let's calculate VAT and see how much we get when we calculate VAT here. Let's calculate VAT. We know that VAT is included. So if we calculate VAT, let's see how do we get it. So I'm gonna say 1,000 times 115 times 15,000 times 15. Let me just put it aside here. That's the calculation. You say times 15. Divide, like, can you see now? You can just say how much is it. I get something like 130.43. Can you see now? So I'm gonna put 130.43. This is how to calculate that. I think you know by now. Therefore, the difference between the two will be the credit losses. Can you see now? So we just have to say, what is the difference between 1,000 minus 130? Let's see how much we get. We get, let's see how much we get here on the calculator. So I get 800. This is the amount that I get. 869. So these are the amount. Can you see now? The main account will, it doesn't matter where you put it, but the main account will always take the amount, including VAT. Thereafter, calculate VAT, and thereafter minus the VAT from that amount, and you get what? The other amount. Okay. So now we must go and record. Remember, the one that is debited will always be recorded first. So that is number 3. I'm just going to up there. 3. I'm just going to skip here and say this is number on the it's number 3. So, and then the account debited here will be credit losses. Can you see now? Okay. And then the amount, remember, if you go back, the credit losses amount was how much? Was 869. You can even go and refer there. It must be debited here. Can you see now? So remember the calculation that we had, but we're still going to show that, don't worry. And the next account that is debited, remember that accounts debited must come first. So we must just come here and put the input VAT. And how much was that input VAT? It was 130.43, if you remember very well. Okay, go and check the calculation. So if you remember that calculation that we did, and is this one, this is the calculation that we had for VAT. Let me just put it here. This is the calculation for VAT that we had. Now, this is the calculation that we had. And then now we can bring the control. The debtors control is the main account, and the main account must include that. I'm going to put it here because it has been credited. Can you see now? I'm just going to put it here, and then let me just change the color. And then thereafter, how much was that amount? That amount was 1,000 rand. Remember that? And for us, remember to find the credit losses. Just to remind you, we just said this is the amount. Can you see? This is the calculation that we had. Now, so you must always make sure that you show the calculation. And if they ask you about the narration, what can you say? I can just say a debtor written off as irrecoverable. Okay, that's how I can put. So you can put it in your own words, but for me, I will just say as irrecoverable. Okay. So that was number 3. Let's go and check the next one. The next one here, it is number 4. So if you look at number 4, what happened to number 4? They said the interest charged to a debtor. Obviously, we've got the interest which has been charged, and obviously we're charging what? A debtor. Remember, interests are not vetable; they are exempt. So the two accounts will only be, okay? The two accounts will only be. Where can I write? Let me write here. The two accounts will be interests income or interest received, and then let me write some. Okay, let me just delete this one because I don't need this anymore for space. Okay, I'm deleting only because of the space. Okay, I want it to be clear. To be clear, just erasing this. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here so that you can understand. Interest income or interest received obviously is an income, and I've got debtors control, which is an asset. You see, now the incomes, obviously we're charging an income, the income will increase. Even the debtors will increase. Why? Because if you charge interest, so the account of debtors will go up. Can you see now? So obviously incomes increase on the credit side, and then obviously the assets will increase on the debit side. Can you see now? So you need to know how to deal with this. Can you see now? So now the one that is debited you must always start with. So when I go and record, I'm gonna start with what? Debtors control, because debtors control has been debited. I'm gonna go to the debtors control. What is the it's number 4, if I'm not mistaken. Come here, number 4, debtors control has been debited. Can you see now? And amount was how much? It was just 125. Remember, there's no VAT for this one. Easy like that. And then the other account is the interest income. And then it's going to be 125. What can be the narration? The narration, you can just say interest charged on overdue account. See, interest charged on the overdue account. You see, you can just put the narration like this. It's okay. We call this narration. So you must always show narrations unless they say you must ignore that. Okay. The next one, let's see. The next one, they said it was realized that the land and building bought for 85,000 during September was by mistake debited to the stationery account. Error must be corrected. So it means they debited by mistake. You can see the error here. They debited. Instead of debiting land and building, they debited stationery. So how can I fix it? The two accounts are stationery and land and building. Can you see now? So I'm going to credit stationery to fix it and debit what? Land and building. Can you see now? So easy like that. So this will be number 5. This is number 5. I'm going to debit land and buildings. Land and building. Okay, and how much was the amount for the land and building? The amount was 85,000. Yes, it was 85,000. Just come here and say 85,000. Remember, we're just correcting the mistake here. 85,000, and then the other account will be stationery. Which is 85,000. Narration, just say correction of error. That's all you do. No, or any other thing that can make sense. You can just be detailed and say, okay, stationery credited, debited by mistake. But I prefer the correction of error. So this is how you were supposed to approach this question. So as I said, this question can be a bit challenging, but now you know what to do. Thank you so much for that. Good